Welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's look back a little bit more, Scott, on that 17-20 loss to Washington. You know, we talked about it a little bit there in segment one. A career low in yardage for Zeke, just 15 carries, 33 yards. What's the reason the running game doesn't seem to travel or didn't on Sunday?
I mean, everything I'm reading is they're saying crowd noise. They're having a difficult time communicating as a unit, this offensive line. And I think that also goes back to the fact that we lost Travis Frederick. He was a mastermind over there at center for us, and he was calling out the protections. He was doing a fantastic job. Joe Looney looks good on tape as a blocker, but he's just not bringing that Pro Bowl or All-Pro experience that Travis Frederick does with the communication, and I think it's a bit of a breakdown. Connor Williams, I still think he needs to put on a little bit of size. I mean, the pressure's coming from the same spot.
Right.
Every single time. It's always on the road. It's always, you know, right up the middle or at that left guard position. And that comes from lack of communication, from inexperience at center with Joe Looney and the rookie Connor Williams. And,
you know, we talk about the absence of Travis Frederick fairly often, and that veteran leadership, not just in the locker room, but I think on the field is where it's missed the most, right?
Absolutely. I mean, fantastic communication for Travis Frederick. I mean, he's got everybody in their spot. You remember when the general, Sean Lee, would be out over the last couple of seasons, and what did that look like? It's because not only is he a fantastic tackler, he's a sideline-to-sideline player, but he watches so much tape that pre-snap, you see him telling everybody, hey, 2 more feet this way, move 1 foot more this way. Travis Frederick does that for this offense, and we're missing that right now. And so, switching gears now, obviously, the offensive line was completely dominated against Washington. Running the ball, as we just said, just 34 yards for Zeke, but also in pass protection. Dak Prescott, in all of these highlights that we saw, he was running for his life, you know, most often. He was sacked 4 times. It's a good thing he wasn't Peyton Manning, or that number probably would have been about 10. Do you translate that pass protection problems back to being the root of the running blocking problems? Not necessarily. I'll be honest with you. I think Dak's throwing late passes. I think that he had some wide open receivers in this game that he should have hit. I think that the pressure is I don't want to say he's not a clutch guy, but I think the pressure's getting to him. And when you start looking at the rush instead of looking at your receivers down the field, that's a problem right there. I mean, on that sack fumble where they scored right in the end zone right there, he should have let that ball go 2 seconds earlier. He had a couple of guys wide open on that left side there. I mean, obviously, no safety help. The safety was down here keyed in on Zeke, who was also open. If he had to dump it, he could have just dumped it. But Michael Gallup was just naked out there. It's on Twitter, lots of pictures of how that went. If you guys want to take a look at what I'm talking about. He lets that ball go. That's 6 points for us. Instead, we give up, 7 going the other way. Now, I mean, the offensive line clearly struggled in this one, and does that specifically correlate to being on the road, do you think? Dallas 0-4 away from Jerry World this year. Yeah, and I do. Yeah, I think that the crowd noise plays a factor 100%. And again, I think that the reason that we're playing so much better at home is because it's quiet and these guys are able to communicate down the line. I just think that Travis Frederick is better at communicating than Joe Looney and putting guys in their place. So when you have that much noise on the road and you're having a difficult time with communication about blocks and things along the offensive line, I think that plays a huge factor into why we're so terrible on the road and so much better at home. I mean, we beat Jacksonville 40-7 at home. Yeah, protection was phenomenal. The running game got going. I mean, all over the place. I mean, Zeke had 106, Dak had 82, right? I mean, we were running the ball well. Yeah. And it's the same offensive line the next week that plays in Washington against, I mean, an underrated defense, but not a Jacksonville defense. So what's the difference? Yeah. What's the difference? It's got to be communication. Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I honestly don't know what it is. Just the night and day difference that we're seeing. I honestly can't explain. I do think Travis Frederick's absence is a lot to do with it. I don't know if that's the main reason. The communication, yes, this and that, sure, but I don't know for the life of me. I just can't figure it out. They're two different teams. Yeah, they are. Home and away. They are. But totally think about it. I mean, you got 5 guys on a line. Connor Williams is brand new, right? But everybody else, they've been playing together for a couple of years. Yeah. So you take one of those guys out and you throw in, I don't want to say a stranger in Joe Looney, but there are going to be communication breakdowns, and that's all I can think of. I mean, that's the difference between being at home and on the road is the noise.
So moving along now from the offense to the defense actually played very well, Scott. You know, if you take away that strip sack there at the end from Dak Prescott, they really only allowed 13 points. They held Washington to 2 short field goals inside the 10-yard line. So they played very well. They went up against Adrian Peterson. Let's have a look at some of these highlights again from Sunday. Adrian Peterson, you know, if you're able to hold him under 100 yards, I think that's a successful day against him, right? Yeah.
I feel like we didn't take him seriously, to be honest with you. I think that they were like, okay, let's just really key on Alex Smith here. There was a lot of pressure going for that. I think LVE has become just as good as a run stopper as Sean Lee in certain cases. I mean, if we're getting this ball run on us and they're running the read option and whatnot, I would love to see 3 guys on the field at the same time. We said this last week. We're both in agreement here. I think you put Leighton Vander Esch, Sean Lee, and Jalen Smith at the same time, this doesn't happen.
Yeah, and there you can see Sean Lee tracking back all the way across the field after Tank Lawrence overcommitted. And look at this pursuit here from Jalen Smith, getting in there to kind of slow him down while the rest of the defense comes in. I think, man, these guys are the future.
Missed a tackle right there.
These guys are the future.
They are the future. We did miss a few tackles on the day, and Adrian Peterson juked a couple of guys out of their shorts. And I mean, he's 33. Come on, he's almost my age, you know. So I mean, not quite. But I think the defense could have played better. I'm certainly not going to fault them at that point, though, because yeah, you're right. I mean, 2 fumbles lost, 1 for an automatic 7 points, and he did lose that other fumble on our side of the field.
Right.
Good job going for that, Jason Garrett, by the way. I still think that was a fantastic coaching call. I think it was an easy first down to get.
Yeah.
You just dropped the ball. But, I mean, that led to 10 direct points for these guys, and we lose by 3. Defense played well enough to win this game. Offense gave this one away.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's forget about this Washington game just a little bit. We'll be taking your questions from social media whenever we return, so don't go anywhere. It's the Cowboys Fan Show. Let's go, Cowboys!